Years of experience in working in elementary and secondary schools, both as a teacher and a school principal, and I hold a master's degree in education. I'd like to briefly introduce the other panel members. We do have more in-depth background information on each of us in the packet that you should have picked up when you came. Everybody hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. First, our first panel member is Jeanette Ben-Farhat. Jeanette's over here. She's a political science instructor at Santa Rosa Junior College. She holds an MA in political science from UC Berkeley, and she lives in Petaluma, and her two grown children previously attended Petaluma schools. Julie Combs was unable to be here, unfortunately, due to some health issues. Next we have Reverend Raymond Decker, who serves on the Executive Committee for Catholic Scholars for Worker Justice. Ray holds an interdisciplinary PhD in law and theology from the Graduate Theological Union and from the University of California School of Law. Ray was a teacher at Bishop O'Dowd High School in Oakland, the assistant dean at Loyola Law School in Los Angeles, and was a visiting scholar at Harvard Law School. Lisa Maldonado is currently the executive director from the North Bay Labor Council. She is an attorney. She has a degree in political science from San Francisco State University and a Juris Doctorate degree from the University of San Francisco Law School. We also have and daughter of a teacher, which is really important, a public school teacher of 30 years. And we have the Reverend Ramon Pons, who currently serves as the parochial vicar at St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Church here in Petaluma. He holds an MA in theology and is the author of several books. Ramon grew up in the Dominican Republic and formerly was a teacher at 2 high schools in Panama. Before I review the agenda, I'd like to share what the Workers' Rights Board concept is and give some context for this hearing. What is the Workers' Rights Board? It is a public forum where workers can bring concerns about violations of workers' rights in the workplace. The Workers' Rights Board gives workers a voice in telling their stories where they would otherwise not adequately have this opportunity. It is designed to put a public spotlight on a problem, to help workers resolve conflicts with employers, and to address the imbalance of power, which results in a lack of respect towards workers. The most important benefit of the Workers' Rights Board is providing the community support for workers in the midst of their struggles. The Workers' Rights Board can also increase awareness in the community about the centrality of workers to their community and the extent to which abuses of workers' rights impacts everyone in the community. It increases the awareness on the part of everyone involved on the profound benefits of building solidarity between the community and workers. Thank you for being here in solidarity. A little bit of context about workers' rights and our economy and education. Over the last 30 years, workers' rights, including the rights of teachers, have been eroding. Unions are being attacked, membership is down, and pensions are being eliminated. The vast majority of workers have experienced stagnant or falling wages, while productivity has nearly doubled over the same period. The top 1% continues to possess more wealth than the bottom 95%. And the income gains made since 2007 during the so-called recession recovery period have gone mainly to the top 1%. We are also in an era characterized by declining funding for schools, attempts to privatize education, and the scapegoating of teachers. It is in this context that this contentious contract campaign has emerged. Now I'd like to review the agenda for this evening. First, we will hear from testimony from the Petaluma teachers, representatives, and from members of the school community. After the testimony, the panel members will take a few moments to ask questions of the speakers in order to clarify or flesh out more information. Then the panel will take a 15-minute recess and return to share some initial findings and initial recommendations. We will also share our next steps after the hearing.
Thank you so much for being here tonight on such a rainy, stormy, inclement night. It's heartwarming to see so many people here really concerned about what's happening in Petaluma. So from my heart to yours, thank you. Just a little bit about who I am. My name is Kim Sharp. Not only am I the president of Petaluma Federation of Teachers, CFT, AFT, AFL-CIO, Local 1881, and yes, that took me a long time to practice. I'm also a member of the community. I'm a teacher. I'm a parent of 2 students in our district. So all of these issues, I wear multiple hats and have multiple concerns. So I wanted to share that with you first. I am before you tonight, unfortunately, to speak to you about the current standoff between members of my federation and the Petaluma City Schools District. I have worked for Petaluma City Schools for 21 years. I started my journey in the Federation, however, first as a building representative, then PFT secretary, then a long stint as vice president of high schools, and then I was honored to be appointed as president, and then a few months ago I was elected to a 2-year term. My fundamental dilemma in preparing for tonight was how to synthesize over 6 months of events and actions into a 5-minute speech. How could I capture a deterioration of trust of almost 10 years? I reviewed as a start my addresses to the board, which is part of my duties as president. I do that quite a bit. And I therefore settled on just a few vital points to cover, and you'll be hearing from others as well. The first issue that I wanted to cover tonight is trust. Trust is fundamental to any relationship, business or personal. Trust is the easiest thing to lose and the hardest thing to rebuild. In 1983, Petaluma City Schools embarked on a journey of trust. Through a grant from the Stewart Foundations, the district and the Federation developed some trust agreements that would be guiding philosophies of doing business in our district. I have here copies of those agreements for you. In the packet I just handed to the panel, it outlines this. In 1987, a trust agreement for K-12 staff development was written. In 1992, a trust agreement on shared decision-making and a guide for use was developed. And these are terms that are used constantly in our district by teachers and by administration. Those documents led to the development of our decision-making resource guide, which can be seen on the district website. This is something that is the fundamental guiding of how we do business. Furthermore, in 1995, an agreement on core curriculum was developed. Notice it's not Common Core, but core curriculum, which predates any state or federal idea of having a clear picture of a district's outcome for their students. The Federation and the district at that time were true partners in collaboration and true visionaries. In 2000, an agreement on K-12 curriculum was developed. It is clear from these agreements that PCS was once dedicated to its teachers and students, was dedicated to collaboration, was dedicated to trust in all things. For these reasons, I used to be so proud of Petaluma City Schools. We were the shining star of the county. Everyone looked to us as to what was best in education. I do not feel this is still the case, and that's a very sad statement to make. The district administration, led by a non-educator, and the school board uphold none of these agreements. Even shared decision-making, which is included in our bargaining agreement, and I have a copy of that language for you, is rarely, if ever, followed. These are supposed to be our fundamental guiding philosophies of how we do business in Petaluma. The teachers believe in it. I am deeply committed to our trust agreements. I have been on the guiding board even before I was president of the Trust Agreement Committee, which oversees these trust agreements, making sure that this is how we do business. It's been frustrating. Not only is it frustrating, but it's disappointing that the very foundation of how we do business does not seem to be valued by our district. The second point I want to make tonight is about morale. Again, I've been an educator for 22 years, 21 in this district. My own children attend our schools, and I have never seen so much asked of our teachers with so little support and respect. People are fearful of their jobs, of their positions. They are exhausted, and they feel defeated. And that's not okay. We take care of the children of this district. We shouldn't feel this way. We should feel empowered. We should feel energized. We should feel okay to take risks, okay to disagree with our supervisor, because we are the professionals in our classroom. There are administrators, unfortunately, at the district and the site levels that are running their schools, and I couldn't think of a better term than like a dictatorship, instead of that partnership that was created oh so many years ago. The superintendent not only refuses to negotiate when his employees are in the room, he sends secret emails to his administrative staff to prevent my members from engaging in union activities which they are legally able to do. He makes a showing of trying to get back to the bargaining table with the Federation, yet files for impasse without indicating that he is going to do this. Retaliation for union activities is rampant. I myself am the subject of that retaliation. Secret morale committees are formed by the Director of Human Resources and the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. They hand select their people to attend those meetings, and they're told, this is not union, don't tell anybody. Minutes are not recorded at district meetings and hardly ever reflect the hard work of the committee members. The head of technology department decided that teachers must either pay a $200 upfront stipend to receive a tool for their classroom or sign a document that says that they will be liable for up to $1,500 if damaged by negligence. That is unacceptable. It's a tool for our classroom. It should be provided for us. The board policy even states that, 40/40, if you want to look it up. Our characters are also being attacked in the media by our own board members. How can Hope survive in this environment? How can my members continue to deliver the amazing quality education when their leadership is lacking the ability to lead? My members are not valued in this district, and it is shown over and over again, unfortunately. The leadership, which unfortunately also includes the board members, has clearly shown that teachers are less than second-class citizens in Petaluma. I asked for the board and the district to reevaluate their current policies. They must again be true partners in collaboration with the Federation. They must regain our trust. Thank you.
I've worked for Petaluma City Schools as a teacher for 22 years. I've lived in Petaluma for 32 years, and my own 3 children are products of the Petaluma City School District. I'm here to talk to the panel about teacher salaries, morale, and the state of negotiations with district administrators. All school districts in Sonoma County report salary and benefit information each year. A report called the J90 is created from that information. The latest report uses the data from 2012-13. The next report with 13-14 will be out in March. Petaluma City Schools is the second largest district based on ADA. When we look at beginning salaries, a beginning teacher in our district is 22nd out of 30 as far as salaries. That has been acknowledged as a problem, but there's been no offer to fix that. When we look at certificated employees, at step 10, a Petaluma City School employee is number 7 in the county. Maximum salary, we see that Petaluma City Schools drops to 16th, and we rank 14th in Sonoma County for average teacher salary. There are 11 other districts in Sonoma County that have higher employee contributions to health benefits. But when we look at the superintendent's salary, it reveals that he is the 3rd highest paid superintendent in the county. If you adjust for health and welfare costs, he's number 2. The average teacher in the district is 14th in the county, and our superintendent is 2nd. Salary does not include the perks that this board chose to put in his contract. He gets $200 a month car allowance, $200 gas allowance, $100 in additional life insurance, $300 a month for community activities outside his job. That's all on top of his salary. And I want to point out this contract was negotiated while our members were taking cuts and students were losing instructional days. If Mr. Bowman serves for 5 years, both he and his wife will have health insurance until they are 65, paid for by Petaluma City Schools. Please don't think this is just about money. It's about respect and, quite frankly, effective leadership. Our professional development is unplanned and, quite frankly, useless. Programs are begun with no forethought, and they are abandoned in the same manner. Our professional learning networks are a great example of that. I was at a district level committee meeting last week when a district level administrator told a group of teachers that we were brain dead. Worse than the insults was the complete lack of organization and purpose for the meeting. Teachers, including myself, were taken away from their students and from their classrooms, and there was nothing gained from the afternoon. This is not an isolated incident. Sadly, it's our new norm. Now let's talk about negotiations. We have not met since July 7th. District negotiators are refusing to allow our members to quietly observe the process. This is a new demand made by the district, as observers have always been allowed. Our stance is transparency is a good thing. We would love for everyone to be able to observe how taxpayer money is used. If the district's uncomfortable with that, then we could keep it to just our members. Sadly, our superintendent is not comfortable in a room with his employees. Before we began negotiations this year, our team really took the time to study budgets not provided by the district. We had to look to things that were submitted to the state to get line item budgets. It was never our intention to ask for more than the district could afford. We naively believed that Mr. Bowman shared our desire to find a way to give our members their first raise in 7 years. It didn't take long to realize that that was not true. Statements like, "You are new, you don't know them. They won't remember what they got this year, they'll want more next year." That was shocking because coming from the man who had asked us and had received 7 years of pay cuts in the form of furlough days. Our biggest issue is the lack of correct budget information. I have a sheet. I have the J90 for you, and I also have a sheet that has the last 5 budgets we were given. One session in May, we were given 3 different budgets. How can you negotiate with someone who will not or cannot give you correct information? The unaudited actual was reported to the state in September, and then last Tuesday, to the school board, and a completely new budget was presented, and suddenly there was $3,345,484 of new expenses from September, not foreseen. It's frustrating for us to know how to negotiate a fair contract when we're working with someone who won't give us the correct information. I asked how we're going to negotiate and get a fair contract. I've been a member of the District Budget Committee since 2008. I can tell you that this district continually overestimates spending and underestimates income to the tune of $2 million every year. Last year, to be exact, it was $1.8 million. There was even $500,000 that was budgeted for certificated salaries, not spent, and now it's been rolled over into the reserve, and we're told it's one-time spending. We can't have that money. We found that money early on, and we weren't ever given an answer to why it was there. The district does have the money to give us the 4% raise that is on the table now. Thank you.
Distinguished members of the North Bay Jobs with Justice Workers' Rights Board and distinguished members of the community. My name is Krista O'Connor. I'm a Petaluma resident and a teacher at Petaluma High School, as well as the high school vice president of Petaluma Federation of Teachers 1881. Over the past several months, teachers and parents in this district have been showing up to attend the Petaluma City Schools board meetings to speak to our elected board members about a variety of topics connected to the jobs we have and the work that we do. From what I can tell, our words have not made an impact. On occasion, as we have applauded our colleagues and supporters, we have been chastised with remarks like, "This is not a pep rally," and scolded with fingers pointed at us, essentially telling us to be quiet and behave. Yet it is hard to simply sit quietly without applause when each speaker brings up issues that impact us so deeply on so many levels. Some speakers have shed real tears as they talk about their financial difficulties and the real daily challenges of doing the jobs we do. Still, the board has not been moved to direct Superintendent Bowman to get past the issue currently preventing forward movement of negotiations. Nor has the board been moved to direct real and meaningful progress to arrive at a fair and equitable contract. We continue to wait, showing up at our classrooms dutifully each day to do our best work with the students in our care. Recent letters and editorials in our local paper suggest that the hardworking teachers of Petaluma should be reasonable. Claims that the teachers should be reasonable do not take into consideration both sides of a complicated issue. On the surface, the public is being told that we cannot move forward because the union wants to allow its members to observe negotiation sessions. What is less understood is that in denying this request, the district's negotiating team is seeking to change the conditions of bargaining from what has been allowed in the past. The fundamental issue is not about the observers. What started as an effort to invite teachers on summer break to observe the process, as we have on other occasions, has become a point on which Mr. Bowman cannot move past in order to save some kind of face. An Argus Courier editorial a few weeks ago offered 2 erroneous theories about the observers. One is that we wanted to put pressure on the district's team. The other, that we don't trust our own negotiating team. I was present at the meeting in July and can say that we were invited there by our team to observe a process we have been allowed to see in the past and to support our team. We were given very clear instructions that we needed to be completely silent when the district's team was in the room, and we were. And you might imagine for a room full of teachers, that is very difficult. At the outset, we had asked that the meeting be moved to the larger boardroom to allow us to simply be present to watch the session that day as a quiet and respectful audience. This request was denied. So several members waited in a much smaller room for about 3 hours while Bowman and his team refused to meet and continued to try to find legal precedent to get rid of us. Had Mr. Bowman sensibly agreed to let us remain, many members likely would have watched for a short time and then been on their way, satisfied that the process was going forward. We have a team made up of both experienced and new negotiators, with a new chief negotiator, Sandra Larson, who is holding a line that previous teams have not been able to hold. I, for one, am confident that this team has the ability to get the job done if only allowed to do so. Mr. Bowman has been quoted as saying that he feels it is not appropriate to have teachers in the room who neither understand the negotiation process nor its history. He consistently insults our intelligence on this and other points when he treats us as though we cannot understand the intricacies of our own contract. We are college graduates who hold a wide range of degrees and credentials, professionals who attend countless hours of meetings a year, intelligent people who simply want to quietly observe a process that affects our financial and professional well-being. To the best of our knowledge, Mr. Bowman, on the other hand, has not earned a single degree in education. Unlike the majority of superintendents in this state and probably in this country, he had to apply for a waiver from the state of California to hold his current position. He has never been a teacher, nor a principal, nor spent any significant amount of time in a classroom educating anyone. Perhaps he is the one who does not understand. I think that Mr. Bowman fails to understand many issues connected to the demands of our job. We spend 40 hours a week during our so-called duty day, and many more hours attending, staffing, coaching, and directing afternoon and evening events, athletic contests, musical and dramatic performances, conferences, and meetings. We mostly plan, grade, answer email, and maintain websites on our own time beyond that duty day. We don't, now that the school year is back in session, have extra time to watch a process that can go forward without us, but we are not willing to give up our bargaining rights or change the terms of negotiations midstream, which is what the district team is insisting that we do. Why should we give up our legal right to something that we have had in the past just to allay the fears of a superintendent who is not getting his way on that day in July? Some have suggested that teachers in the struggle are losing sight of who we serve in this district, our students and their parents. I contend that by forcing us to fight month after month for a reasonable cost of living adjustment, our first in over 7 years, that it is the school board and the district management who are not considering the impact that this is having on both teachers and their students. We Petaluma teachers agreed to take furlough days over the past several years to help the district stay financially solvent. We agreed to take on extra students to help keep resources where they belong, benefiting our programs, in spite of the fact that we know increased class sizes are inherently wrong in times when we are trying to serve each student in a more personalized way. You can walk into any classroom in this district and see exemplary teaching and learning going on every hour of every day. According to a recent report delivered to the board by our Director of Student Services, we have some of the best attendance, graduation rates, and test scores in the county. We take a huge amount of pride in our profession and in our conduct. I wish our school board members would consider and acknowledge who we really are. As teachers, many of us are unable to afford to live here in this town, but I'm fortunate to have been a Petaluma resident for over 30 years. As a parent of 2 daughters who have graduated from 13 years each in our district, and as a teacher in my 15th year at Petaluma High School, I feel as though I know this district well. I'm a professional who knows my craft. While I may not always be able to carry out my duties perfectly, I do my best with the conditions and the resources I have. I'm a well-trained, intelligent person with the ability to meet, greet, and work with my teenage students every day with a smile and kind, encouraging words. I work with some of the most caring, intelligent, compassionate, and dedicated people I know. Many of them, like me, are also the parents of the students in this district. We care about this community. We want to see these children and young adults learn and thrive and succeed and give back to the community we love. The district management and the board should be willing to agree to a modest cost of living adjustment and a raise to recognize the sacrifices and contributions that we have made in good faith over the past several years. It is the right thing to do in a district that has seen revenues increase due to the passage of Proposition 30 and the new local control funding formula funding, and we have well over our 3% state mandated reserves. I would like to see the current board members listen to their teachers when they have decisions to make that directly involve us and our students, to respect us as professionals who know our schools and our students and what they need, and to agree to a reasonable and fair contract that recognizes that we have done everything we can to create quality education in our Petaluma schools. Thank you very much for your time.
Hello. First of all, thank you for hosting this tonight and having us here, and thank you to everybody who's come. My name is Elizabeth Chirella, and I'm a second grade teacher at Pengrove Elementary School. I have taught in the Petaluma School District since 1981. When I said that today to my son, he went, oh. For many years, I was a resource specialist at Casa Grande and Petaluma High School, and also at Pengrove School. I am currently a primary school teacher at Pengrove Elementary School, teaching second grade. Let me begin by saying I'm not a grandstander or an outspoken figure in the Petaluma school community. Most people in the district office wouldn't recognize me or know my name. I prefer to display my passion and dramatic enthusiasm within the four walls of my classroom. However, when asked to speak at this event, I decided it was time to walk the talk and speak publicly about the difficulties and the challenges we are facing in the classroom. Of course, education has changed over the past 30+ years I've been in the profession. Ongoing research guides our profession, not to mention advances in technology. We teachers are lifelong, enthusiastic learners. We model this for our children all the time. We welcome change and professional development that accompanies it. In addition to the new Common Core curriculum and new technology, other changes in education include larger class sizes and fewer or no assistants in primary classrooms. In years past, I felt that the district administration and teachers were on the same team with the same objective: to provide a quality education to the students of Petaluma School District. More importantly, I put faith in my administration because I felt they were making sound decisions, many made with the shared decision-making model that supported me as a teacher. Of course, not everything is perfect, and not everything was perfect, but I had a level of trust that allowed me to pour my efforts into the many, many demands of teaching rather than questioning the effectiveness of my district leaders. That is no longer the case. Even if I wanted to retreat within my four walls and ignore all that is going on around me in the district, it would be impossible. So, what is going on? Here are a few issues we're dealing with. New Common Core math that still demands hours of team prep, even after a year of professional development, with teachers doing the development of curriculum. New Common Core language arts, we're adapting and supplementing our current program. PLN demands, this is our new professional learning networks that was mentioned earlier. Technology trainings, new report cards, developing assessments for new report cards, numerous committee meetings and demands on our time. No contract, a superintendent who won't negotiate in good faith, declining morale among teachers. The above is in addition to the daily demands of teaching: lesson planning, parent communication, science prep, buddies prep, grading papers, field trip planning, email checking, and oh yes, teaching our children, which we love to do. I know these are my tasks, that these are my jobs. This is what I signed on for when I became a teacher. And I'm committed to putting in the planning, the time, and the effort to do them competently. However, I need to be supported in my efforts. I need professional development that is well thought out and implemented and relevant for me and my grade. I need time to work with my colleagues on tasks that meet our needs. I need the district to value my level of professionalism and trust that is given some open-ended time that I know what needs to be done and I will do it. Teachers know what needs to be done, and they will do it. They have been doing it all along. I want to do it. I want a lesson plan with my team. I want to create assessments. I want to differentiate instruction for my students. I want to get better at utilizing tech programs. I don't want to attend poorly organized, executed trainings. I don't need to be exposed to yet one more technology training that may or may not be relevant to my grade. Let me learn and explore the 2 or 3 that I know will be applicable. I want to be valued by my district. A little about me personally. After hearing everyone else, I felt I should leave this out, but I'm going to leave it in there. I'm a single parent, and I live in Santa Rosa with my 25-year-old son. He's a bright young man who attends Sonoma State. He has some special needs and will most likely need my support for a few more years. I also have aging parents in Michigan who are needing more of my help every day. I travel there every break. I need to retire to be more available to them. I wanted to retire a couple years ago, but it was not feasible financially. With my mortgage and supporting my son, I knew I couldn't take on the added expense of health insurance. I decided I would work a couple more years so I'd only have 2 years of insurance payments until I turned 65 and was eligible for Medicare. Several years ago, I attended a meeting with a retirement counselor. I expressed concerns about my financial situation once I retire. He assured me that with my 30-plus years with the district and what he projected would be my retiring salary, I'm okay, I'll be secure. So now, I have the years of service, but the projected salary never happened. 7 years of no raises, not even COLA. My salary has actually declined, and now the money is there for a modest 4% raise, but the district negotiators are not offering their employees a respectful salary increase. It is difficult to feel like a valued employee at this point in the game, and mine is just one story. I want to point out that I understand the district's preference to hold larger than necessary amounts of money in reserve. I personally share the same budgeting philosophy. I am frugal to a fault and like to have money set aside just in case. When my son was little, he often asked me if we were poor because I said no to his many requests for new toys, going out to dinner, a new book. Yet, when it came time to spend money, and I mean some large amounts of money, to buy plane tickets so we could visit family, I didn't think twice. I didn't think twice. I value family relationships, and I wanted my son to have a close relationship with his grandparents, his aunts, his uncles, his cousins. I still dip into my reserves to buy these tickets. I still do that. And if I didn't have the reserves, I would find a way to cover the cost. So if you are a board member and you're here, please hear me when I say this. Close family connections matter greatly to me. My hope is that our district negotiators will do the same. They will financially support what they value. My work has been a large part of my life. I always have loved teaching, and I still do. Now as I come to the end of my career, I feel saddened and disillusioned. For the first time ever, I don't feel comfortable urging young teachers, and I've had many student teachers, to apply for a position in the Petaluma School District under the current leadership. A successful businessman named Arnold Glasow once said, "One of the tests of leadership is the ability to recognize a problem before it becomes an emergency." I think we have an emergency. In conclusion, I'd like to end on a positive note. That's just who I am. I am confident that the teachers of the Petaluma School District will continue to teach our children with the highest level of dedication and professionalism. I also know that many parents and the community are here to support us. Thank you very much.
Again, my name is Carrie Cottle. I'm a teacher here in town. I teach kindergarten and first grade at Mary Collins School. I've been teaching for 11 years. I am reading the words written by Emily Gordon, who is the research director for the California Federation of Teachers. She lives in Oakland and was not able to come due to inclement weather. So I'm going to read what she said, which says my name is Emily Gordon, so, be prepared for that. My name is Emily Gordon, and I am the research director at the California Federation of Teachers, AFL-CIO. CFT represents 120,000 teachers, school employees, community college faculty, and lecturers and librarians throughout the UC system. I work across the state assisting our local affiliates with district budget analysis and contract negotiations. I also work to help our locals understand what's happening with the state and federal budget in terms of education funding and policy. My comments tonight will focus on the bigger picture of our state economy and funding for education, as well as some comments on the negotiations underway here in Petaluma. In terms of the big picture, our state economy is in a recovery mode, and significant investments are being made in K-12 education. While we are still far from where we need to be, the passage of Prop 30 in 2012 and overall growth in the economy have allowed for a reinvestment in education and movement away from the draconian cuts we saw during the recession. The new local control funding formula and local control accountability plans also place significant control and decision-making about funding and how to spend education dollars at the local level, giving local school boards and districts broad authority to determine spending priorities. As evidence of the improving state economic picture, a recent report released by the Legislative and Analyst's Office, often refers to as the LAO, is estimating that the state will end the 2015-16 budget year with $4.2 billion in total reserves. Higher state revenues will also drive the Prop 98 minimum guarantee, the major funding source for K-12 funding in California, from $60.9 billion in 2014-15 to $65.8 billion in 2015-16. In addition, the LAO estimates that $1.5 billion will be available this year, 2014-15, for one-time purposes, which could include funding for Common Core, among other possible programs. All of this points to a promising outlook for the state economy and growth in funding for education. This is not a time of cuts, but a time of restoration. And teachers and school employees, many of whom took furlough days and pay cuts during the recession, deserve to benefit from our overall improved economic picture. In terms of how this improved economic picture impacts Petaluma, Petaluma City Schools saw its total revenue increase by $3.6 million between 2012-13 and 2013-14. Between 2013-14 and 2014-15, total revenues are projected to increase by another $2.5 million. In addition, Petaluma City Schools has more than enough money in reserves. The state requires that a district of this size maintain a reserve of 3% at all times. According to the 2014-15 approved budget, Petaluma City Schools would end this year with 11% in reserves. In terms of dollars, based on the 2014-15 approved budget, Petaluma City Schools is required to have approximately $2.1 million in reserves. Again, according to the 2014-15 approved budget, it is $8 million. This is approximately $5.9 million more dollars than required by the state. While some portion of this is legally restricted, over $5.7 million of the monies currently in reserves are not legally restricted dollars. Furthermore, on the reserves issue, as part of the recently passed Proposition 2, a cap on district reserves was placed into law. This cap, while not enacted yet, places a limit on district reserves being no more than 2 to 3 times the state requirement. With an 11%, Petaluma is well above this cap. While not a legally binding requirement yet, it is clear that the legislature, the governor, and California voters do not support districts hoarding money in reserves that could be better spent in our classrooms and supporting our teachers and other school employees. Overall, Petaluma City Schools can afford to do better by its teachers. Teachers in this district have taken furlough days and foregone raises during the recession. With an improved state economic picture and a healthy reserve at the local level, it is time for the district to negotiate in good faith with its employees. Petaluma can and should provide a fair raise to its teachers, allowing them to support their families and provide the best quality education possible for their students. Thank you.
I'm a parent, and my children go to McNear. I have, I see their kindergarten teachers here, which probably will make me cry. I'm here because I love my teachers. They're like part of my family. They literally are part of my family. They help me raise my children. And I think that most parents would agree that our teachers are playing an incredibly critical role in the development of our children. And they deserve our support. They deserve parents to show up and stand up in solidarity with them, because this is about the community. It's more than about the teachers. It's about the children. It's about the families that rely on these teachers putting their best foot forward day after day after day. Just to step back for a second and say that I am not an educator. Technically, I work in education and higher education at UCSF, and we do leadership development for continuing medical education. Physicians are interesting, and I'm going to come back to them for a second and draw a comparison because it's an interesting juxtaposition. I work in healthcare. Healthcare is facing some very similar types of transformation that education is facing, and some really big, what we call wicked problems in healthcare. And that calls for transformational leadership. There is a big distinction between transactional leadership and transformational leadership. And what I'm witnessing is an absence of transformational leadership, and I want to sound the alarm bell. That's why I'm here. My relationship to education is when we moved to this amazing community 7 years ago. I enrolled my children at a little tiny community preschool. It was a Reggio Emilia preschool, and the director gave us 9 days notice that she was going to close the preschool. And my husband and I loved this place so much, we said, let's buy it. Let's buy it and let's turn it around. Neither of us are educators, but we've just passionately believed in what the program stood for and the opportunity to shape young lives. And so we bought the program, and we consulted with Margaret Potts, the founder of the Reggio Emilia program at McNear. And we went up to UC Davis, and we consulted with early childhood educators that were at Sac State. We were really serious about drawing from best practices, and we were really serious about creating a rigorous but community-driven early education environment. And one of the first things that we did is we started paying our teachers for planning time. Why? Because we valued what they were doing. We stopped asking them to clean the school because that's not where their skill set is, right? We wanted them educating, and so we paid them for professional development. We paid them, it came out of our pockets. And we were hemorrhaging money, but we did it because it was the right thing to do. And that's why I'm here, because I've been in a smaller context. I've been in the position that Steve Bowman's in, and it was coming out of my budget. And it was stuff that I couldn't share with my family, but I made sure my teachers had what they needed to be successful in the classroom because it was the right thing to do. Now, I'm in healthcare, and we do leadership development for physicians, nurses, and other clinicians. And what's really interesting, I'm going to take a step back for a second. Two of the biggest social determinants for lifetime health are healthcare and education. Even the Federal Reserve has come out in multiple reports and said that investments in early childhood education yield some of the greatest return of any investment that could be made. So, stepping back and just saying that in healthcare, leadership, to get out of the problem, the dilemma, the wicked problems that we have, we need transformational leaders. You would never go into a hospital, some of the best performing hospitals, Mayo, Cleveland Clinic, they're run by doctors. They're not run by business people. Okay? Yeah. Why? Because their core business is medicine. So, I'm also a graduate student, and I've spent the last year and a half studying leadership principles for high-performing organizations, so I know what I'm talking about. And when I got involved in this particular situation, I started talking to people. I was interested in diverse perspectives. I wanted to talk to people who had history with the district. I've talked to board members in other districts. I've talked to former board members in our district. I've talked to teachers. I've talked to parents. I've talked to administrators. And I continue to have those conversations. And while I don't agree necessarily with all of the people I've talked to, we have all had shared values. And I think that's where we need to get back to, is a sense of shared values. So as I started talking to teachers and school administrators, what I heard was really alarming. I heard that teachers felt marginalized and that morale was at an all-time low. And I diagnosed it as a toxic work environment. I diagnosed that based on a lot of research in toxic work environments and their implications on performance. Toxic work environments are characterized by environments where there's low psychological safety. And I think that that's what our teachers are facing, is working conditions where there's really low psychological safety. And I'm very concerned about that. I think they feel a lack of respect and support from the district. In response to this, I started a change.org petition. And the petition, within 10 days, we had about 700 plus signatures. I ended the petition because we started getting a lot of signatures from out of state. And while I appreciated the support that we were getting, I closed the petition in support of the teachers. We're up to almost 400 supporters who actively participate in the page. So despite what the Argus Courier wants to portray, that I believe words that I read were the teachers were being bullies and they were full of vitriol. That feels really unfair. It feels like it's an unjust portrayal of who our teachers are. I see them as committed professionals working in solidarity to effect needed change in the district. That makes them heroes, not bullies. What sort of district do we want to be? What sort of future do we want to create? And do we want to be a district that shows strong support for its teachers, recognizing their commitment, their sacrifice, their time, their talents with equitable pay? That's the district I want. That's the district I'm willing to fight for, and I suspect that that's the district that the teachers want as well. And if we ask the students, I'm pretty sure that they would want it as well too. Because you know what? They know the difference between black and white. And to me, this is an issue that's so obvious that even kindergartners would get it. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Jen Newman. I'm a Petaluma resident. I'm a nonprofit professional and a working mom. I'm an avid, engaged Petaluma community member. I'm going to say right off the bat, standing at this podium is not my comfort zone. I am stepping out, and I was surprised at myself for how quickly I said yes when asked to do so, because this is an issue that lives right here, and I'm pretty sure there's not a better place I could be right now. So I do this with gratitude. I'm really going to try not to cry. My husband and I have a 10-year-old daughter who's a 5th grader at Mary Collins School at Cherry Valley. She and my family are in our 6th year at our school. I say our because our school is our community. My husband and I believe strongly in public education. We are philanthropic. We are community volunteers. We vote. We choose public education over private education because it strengthens us as a community and as a nation when people are working together for the greater good of everybody. We believe in Cherry Valley, not because of the pretty campus or the proximity to our home, or that it is a convenient K-8 curriculum or the year-round calendar. We believe in it because we believe our child is getting a first-rate education thanks to the educators and staff of Cherry Valley. She is an impassioned, supportive, engaging, flexible, smart, interesting and fun learning environment. I had to stop myself from adding more words because every one of those words means something to me. She likes going to school. In my 6 years involved in her school, I've never met an educator I wasn't thrilled with. I know they exist, but not at my school. I'm also very engaged at our school. I sit on 2 of the 3 parent-run boards. I run fundraisers. I attend board meetings. I take part in field trips. I help in the classroom. I am engaged with my child's teacher and always have been. I feel that I'm an informed member of my school's community. And that said, I had no idea the level of upset and discomfort my child's educators are dealing with in their workplace and in their communications and negotiations with their employer, and that upsets me. I have just recently learned of the personal stress they are feeling in the workplace, but honestly, I'm not surprised that I didn't know, because that is the kind of educators our teachers are. They are professionals, they are top-notch, they are dedicated, they are caretakers of our children. I'm really trying not to cry. This is a really important issue for me. They would not let contract negotiations or an employment situation impact their classroom or their teaching. My teachers at Cherry Valley are a dedicated bunch. Over the years, I have received many emails from every educator when school is not in session, when I know they should be with their families. Weekends, 6 in the morning, 9 at night, fall break, spring break. My family lives near campus, and we often walk through campus when school is out. Many, many times there are teachers' cars in the parking lot. This is not an 8 to 4 Monday through Friday bunch. They exhibit a level of dedication that I admire and that deserves to be rewarded and reciprocated. I hear that our teachers are tired. I hear they are disheartened. I hear they are stressed, and honestly, that upsets me and sickens me. I want our teachers to start their day feeling supported by their administrators. I want them to feel respected by their district. I want them to feel encouraged and empowered. I want them to feel valued. I want my daughter's teacher to enter her classroom at 8 a.m. thinking not about paychecks and pay increase freezes and disrespect in the workplace. I want her to enter that classroom thinking about how she will inspire my child and her peers to learn. What we are talking about here is the people who are educating Petaluma's next generation of adults. Should we be lucky enough that they choose to stay? Why aren't we offering our teachers every benefit, empowering them, encouraging them, and supporting them? I ask the members of our school board and district administrators to honor our teachers and give them the respect they deserve, treat them as professionals, give them a fair living wage, honor the fact that they are the reason my child's experience at school is an amazing one. Because really, our teachers know that it's all about the children. Let us please support the people who know that to be true. Thank you.
I was born and raised in Petaluma. I attended Newark Valley Elementary School, and my parents picked Petaluma to raise me in. They didn't just end up here. They didn't wake up and say, you know what, we're going to pack up and move to Petaluma. They chose this place because they have great schools, they have great soccer teams, it's a great environment. I attend Casa Grande High School, and I've been there since my freshman year. And I will graduate this spring. After that, I plan on going to Converse College in South Carolina on a soccer scholarship. And I will be getting my teaching credential, and I will be teaching English. I have been I've been really active with what's happened in my elementary school and what's happened at Casa Grande. I've been a Girl Scout ever since my kindergarten year. I play on the soccer team at Casa Grande. I've been on varsity. I've been a part of choir at Casa, and I've been really active in the liberal arts cluster that there is at my school. I love my school, and I really love the teachers that who've taught me to love school in general. I'm here tonight for this exact reason. Last year, during the beginning of the year, I was failing 4 of my 6 classes. I got pulled in by every single teacher on their own time, and I got told to get my act together. After 2 hours of a parent-teacher conference with 2 of my mentors now, I understood why the teachers do exactly what they do. Not because they have an amazing paying job, not because it's glamorous. They choose to go the extra hour. They choose to do the extra help during lunch and the numerous hours at home, not because that this is glamorous, not because this is, you know, they get to go home and drive home in their Mercedes, but they do this because they care enough to take all kinds of students under their wings each and every year and care for them just as they are their own. I have this luxury now, and I will have this luxury until I graduate, but I think the thing that I'm most fearful of is what kind of time and energy will these amazing people give my brothers and sisters 4 years from now? Who can say that they may even be here? Parents and students may sometimes forget that these people who change my life and my peers' lives every single day go home and they have their own lives too. This wear and tear of the conditions that they are in now may change all of this, because believe it or not, these humans that act like superheroes on a daily basis, they can break too. Thank you.
First, I'd like to thank everyone for having me this evening. When I was asked to speak at this event, I immediately said yes. There was no question about it, because our teachers do so much for us, and I can do nothing more but give back to them. So first, I'd like to start off with a little bit of an introduction. My name is Jeanette, and I am a senior attending Casa Grande High School. Like Karina, I'm very involved in our school. I'm part of a lot of clubs. I'm president of our PTSA chapter, and I'm also in a few other commissions around the Bay Area. Next fall semester, I plan on going to Harvard University. I was recently accepted this evening. Help and support, and I'm looking around the room and I'm seeing teachers in tears, and honestly this is bringing me to tears, because I know this means so much to teachers, and it means so much to me to be able to represent them and be able to give them a voice from a student perspective. And so I think that all of us have all had that one teacher who has inspired us, who has pushed us, who has taught us things that we wouldn't be able to find in a normal textbook. And this is something that I found in so many teachers in Petaluma. I've had so many great teachers at Corona Creek, at Kenilworth, and at Casa Grande, and I cannot think of them enough for leading me on this pathway towards a great education. I can honestly say that the Petaluma School District's teachers are probably one of the best in the nation. I cannot thank them enough for all that they have done for me. Sitting in the audience is my teacher, Ms. Couch, who wrote me a letter of recommendation that got me into Harvard University. So I just want to give a shout out to Ms. Couch for all of her amazing work. All the teachers at Casa Grande I know personally spend and dedicate so much of their time for their students. They go beyond just what the standard education that you would think they would just be teaching. So they're not just teaching mathematics, they're teaching valuable things that we use in our lifetime. And not only are they our teachers, but they are our biggest supporters. When I was 5 years old, my father had a stroke and I spent my years growing up watching my father bedridden and watching my mother take care of my father. So the closest relationship I had with anyone was with my teacher. And she was like a second parent to me, and it was just so great to see how supportive she was of me. And so I can really say that teachers sacrifice so much of their time, resources, and energy for their students. And so when I'm hearing all of these teachers and parents talk about this dilemma, about how teachers are being disrespected and how teachers do not have a competent enough superintendent that has questionable education and seems not to even have any experience in the educational field. It's absolutely ridiculous that we can see that the Petaluma School District is not supporting our teachers. Our students are our futures, We are your future entrepreneurs. We are your future judges. We are your future doctors and lawyers. But we are also your future homeless people and criminals. And the thing is that teachers are the people who are taking these students who are on their way to homelessness and taking them out of that pathway and inspiring them to dream big, inspiring them to do things beyond their comfort zone. Teachers are our greatest assets, and they are the people who are influencing our future, molding our future on the most grassroots level. We need to support our teachers. And I strongly advise this advisory board to make the strongest recommendations towards supporting our teachers, towards getting them to have a salary increase, towards getting them to actually have a freaking contract. I mean, how can they not have job security when they're teaching our future?
Finding number 1, there's a profound lack of trust between the superintendent and teachers in the Petaluma City School District, as evidenced by the lack of transparency regarding the budget and the unwillingness to allow teachers to observe negotiations. We also find that the district is in violation of the district's own trust agreements with the teachers. The superintendent has a primary responsibility to set the tone, build a positive district climate, and working relationships with teachers. This lack of trust and poor relationships is creating a negative and toxic working environment and unfair working conditions for teachers, and it is also affecting the education of students. 2, many of the problems in the district appear to be a symptom of the district being administered from a purely business model, which is entirely too short-sighted for the administration of an educational community. We also have some questions about even following that model, whether it's been done in a competent manner. A business corporate model of administration is fundamentally inadequate to administer the broad and complicated educational needs of a community because it functions from a top-down model with the first priority being the execution of a line item budget. This narrowness of perspective vitiates the transparent, collaborative, and cooperative administrative model that is needed to respond to the diverse educational needs of a community. A corporate management model, although certainly useful in some settings, should not be the primary priority of any educational system. The school board may also, or appears to support, a business approach to district management, evidenced by the fact that the board was willing to request a state waiver for credentialing requirements to enable the superintendent to work in his current position. The board seems to value the relationship with the current superintendent and his leadership style over and above the value of the preparation and administrative experience of other potential candidates for superintendent, and consequently perhaps other more effective approaches to leading the district. Number 4, there's a significant perception that the school district does not value their teachers, evidenced by the fact that the district has not prioritized a cost of living raise in 7 years for the teachers. The superintendent has received parity adjustments and other upgrades to his compensation package, while not understanding or disregarding the impact it may be having on staff morale. Number 5, there's a perception from teachers that they are not respected and included in decisions that directly affect their ability to do their jobs. There appears to be a one-way communication direction coming from management. This lack of respect is evidenced by the fact the superintendent added instructional time to the kindergarten schedule without adequate input and involvement from the teachers. Number 6, There seems to be a lack of careful planning and forethought before implementing new curriculum and technological initiatives in the district, as evidenced by the fact that the district did not take into account all that was required to implement an online grading system and other technological programs. Professional development initiatives also seem to be poorly planned and do not include teacher input. Initial recommendations. 1. Improve the relationships and repair the lack of trust between the superintendent and teachers. In a spirit of trust and respect, the superintendent should work cooperatively and creatively with the teachers to agree on ground rules for allowing teachers to observe the negotiations. The distrust that continues to grow far outweighs the risk of observing teachers not having the full history of previous negotiation sessions. Also, the district should re-examine and follow the trust agreements that have been developed. 2. Utilize a collaborative approach to managing the district's finances. Consistently and periodically provide a transparent budget with accurate budget information, including a line item budget. This will help to build trust and allow teachers to become part of the budget solutions. There should be more opportunities for teachers to become better educated or knowledgeable on the district's budget challenges and provide more input on the solutions. So that's a shared model. 3. Move away from a business model and develop new and honor shared decision-making approaches. Shared power to district management, where teachers are viewed as assets and valuable resources in making decisions. Establish district committees in a way where teachers can be collaboratively planned with teacher input and shared decision making. There needs to be basic acknowledgement that teachers have the knowledge, the right, and the experience to participate fully in shared decision making. Number 4, we recommend that the superintendent pursue education and an administrative credential that would fill in the gaps where there's a lack of knowledge and understanding of the educational side, what's going on with teachers and instruction and all the whole educational side. If not, the board should consider seeking consultation from the Association of California School Administrators or from other educational experts on the advantages of having and disadvantages of not having district leadership from a qualified and appropriately experienced school superintendent. Number 5, if the superintendent wants to require that all teachers be on campus before the start of school, this requirement should be negotiated with the teachers and entered into the contract. 6, the superintendent needs to hold the assistant superintendent and management staff accountable to ensure that there is effective communication and implementation of tasks and initiatives, particularly when it impacts teachers. 7, the school board should acknowledge and utilize the shared governance approach, or should I say the superintendent should promote a shared governance approach to managing the district and a shared decision-making process. There needs to be greater transparency and access to the school board by teachers and the community. 8, the North Bay Workers' Rights Board commits to supporting the Petaluma Federation of Teachers in their process of submitting complaints to different bodies, for example, to the National Labor Relations Board as an example, or other bodies. 9, we're also going to be sharing our formal findings with the state superintendent, the county superintendent, and the Sonoma County Board of Supervisors. And finally, the North Bay Workers' Rights Board is committed to supporting the Petaluma Federation of Teachers in their campaign for a fair fair salary compensation and working conditions. And as part of Jobs with Justice, North Bay Jobs with Justice, we're committed to that. And we fully support you, Petaluma Federation of Teachers, and feel that most definitely there are worker violations of workers' rights in this district, and we're very, very concerned about how the district's being managed. Very concerned. Thank you so much for pouring out your heart.